Happy Tuesday, March 8th, YouTube.
Let me see you put 'em up. Reach the sky, touch the stars up above. Cause it's one time for the underdog. One time for the underdog. You got the world on your team, even if that ain't what it seems. It's one time for the underdog. One time for the
young nigga with a dollar and a dream, and these Nikes on my feet, trying to stay about the streets. So I'm rhyming, pulling 187s all on these beats, instead of on the concrete, submitting my future while they were focused on what they cheap. But shit, I'm like a chief head honcho. Tell me that it's impossible, I give it to you pronto. Be working all these late nights and these early mornings like Alonzo. So one day they'll be calling me great, just call me Gonzo. But I'm never acting, nor is anybody pulling strings. Everything I have came from sacrificing everything. I traded working 9 to 5 for the minimum for working non-stop, so my life be like a cinema screen. But in the end I wouldn't have it any other way. Got on my knees and for this rap to work is what I prayed, and that was happening. Crunching numbers like Captain, a serial killer, compelling listeners with his passion for words. Never acting my verbs, with truly passion to serve not only masses but curves, not just the hood but the birds. Know you hear it every time I grace the mic, then I give it to God.
I didn't think we could fall in love.
So I start my day with some chocolate peanut butter Pro Oats, or at least today I did it. It contains about 45 grams of carbs, 27 grams of protein, and 19 grams of fat. Pretty much what I did is I took about half a cup of oats and mixed that with a cup of water, put it in the microwave, nuked it for about a minute and a half or so, got it nice and cooked, and then I added about half a scoop of the protein, which is a Rocky Road flavor, so it has more of a chocolate taste to it. I then will add about 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, about a teaspoon of coconut, and just mix it together. And I decided to add a little bit of just like a third of a banana, because bananas are very high in carbs, so I try to stay away from them. But just for a little added fruit, I added about a third of the banana. So hopefully you guys enjoy watching the rest of this footage for how I make my oatmeal in the morning.
one time for the underdog. One time for the underdog. You got the world on your team, even if that ain't what it seems. It's one time for the underdog. One time for
a young nigga with a dollar and a dream, and these Nikes on my feet, trying to stay about the streets. So I'm rhyming, pulling 187s all on these beats, instead of on the concrete, submitting my future while they were focused on what they cheap. But shit, I'm like a chief head honcho. Tell me that it's impossible, I give it to you pronto. Be working all these late nights and these early mornings like Alonzo. So one day they'll be calling me great, just call me Gonzo. But I'm never acting, nor is anybody pulling strings. Everything I have came from sacrificing everything. I traded working 9 to 5 for the minimum for working non-stop, so my life be like a cinema screen. But in the end I wouldn't have it any other way. Got on my knees and for this rap to work is what I prayed, and that was happening. Crunching numbers like Captain, a serial killer, compelling listeners with his passion for words. Never acting my verbs, with truly passion to serve not only masses but curves, not just
It's been a whole week since I talked to you guys the last time about what I was planning to do with the month of March, and I'm so excited because we are a fourth way there, and I must admit that it's been one of the toughest things that I could have possibly taken on for myself personally, just because I increased my food intake by so much so quickly that it was definitely hard to say the least. But the last clips that you guys just saw was obviously my breakfast that I had and my physique update, and the physique update was done this morning, just like last time, a week from today. It was done at 8 in the morning though, because obviously I don't have class, I'm on spring break, so I slept in a little bit, and it was before I ate anything, before I drank anything, so it was my pure, this is how I look, physique. And then for breakfast, you guys saw I had my oatmeal, where I talked about also the macros and everything that kind of went with that. And I personally find that oatmeal is like one of the best things for me to eat. And not because I like the taste of it, trust me, I get pretty bored of the taste, but it like fills me up the best, and it makes me feel almost like just makes me feel better than anything else that I typically would eat for breakfast. So I find that it's very like effective for me. And I also started adding more protein to it because I have been having a hard time actually getting all my protein sources in, and so I decided that why not just add like some protein powder to my oatmeal, and that would actually help that cause. So I'm actually and honestly it tastes really good, and like I alternate with adding peanut butter. Sometimes I'll put a little honey in it or like fruit. So I definitely try to play around with it. The version that you guys saw in this past clip was just one of the versions that. All right, and now to jump into a little bit more of a personal experience that I've kind of felt this past week. Like I mentioned earlier, it's been really hard for me, and I've noticed that as much as you really can't see it like on my physique update, I really do feel like very bloated, and I definitely do not feel as lean as I felt before when I wasn't eating as much. And it's honestly, it's okay, guys. For all of you that may be going through the same exact process, there's nothing wrong with the way you're feeling right now. Your body is completely adjusting, and this is just part of the step in the process that your body needs to go through before it can actually recover and start working more properly as far as your metabolism goes and the way your body just processes food. So you will probably gain a little weight. I've only gained, well, it could be anything, honestly. I was 143 last week. This week I weighed in at 144.8. So it could honestly be anything. It could be water weight. It could be just maybe an extra something I ate yesterday. I slept a little longer. It could be a lot of things. So don't get discouraged by the scale or the weight, and don't get discouraged by how you look. This is honestly just like part of the process, and it's hard. Like, I agree with anyone that's trying to go through this. It's definitely hard. Like, you look at yourself in the mirror and like you have a belly to you, and you're just constantly eating when you're not hungry, and it's definitely like demoralizing almost to feel that way. But I guarantee that it's just part of the process, and I'm sure that once I'm done and over with this whole month, my body will be slowly adjusting to it. So it's definitely not going to react as much later on as it's reacting now, just because it's like, what the heck is going on? And essentially, like, at the end of this month, if you feel like you have been eating too much and you're putting too much weight on, then I would definitely recommend maybe lowering your calories or your macros, or maybe working out a little more or whatnot. But if you're also having a hard time putting on weight, then maybe you should increase your macros and your caloric intake. And nothing to say that you can't play around with it. But as far as this month goes, I'm trying to stay completely dedicated to what I promised myself to do. And hopefully you guys enjoy this journey. And today I'm also doing a full day of eating. So you guys saw my breakfast, and I'm also going to film my lunch and my dinner for you guys. And I'll talk about that as far as macros goes. And so hopefully you guys enjoy this video, and I will see you guys in my next vlog next week, next Tuesday. I don't know what the date is off the top of my head. I think it's the 16th or the 15th, but hopefully you guys stay tuned and we'll watch my following vlogs. Bye, guys.
And I wouldn't have it any other way. Got on my knees, and for this rap to work is what I prayed. And now it's happening, crunching numbers like cats in a cereal.
So lunch consisted of like a Russian stew. I can't really count the macros in it. I didn't make it, unfortunately, but it has pretty much potatoes, some beef, a lot of veggies, and just like a broth that consists of like chicken broth. So it's very light and healthy, barely anything that's really bad for you in there at all. Alright, and for dinner we have a collard green stir fry with couscous, egg, and tuna. This is the last meal of my day. It has 27 grams of carbs, 22 grams of fat, and 47 grams of protein. Essentially what I did was I had made couscous the night before, so I used what I had left, or about a half cup worth, prepared, so make sure when you look it's actually prepared, not non-prepared, for when you try to take in your macros. And then what I pretty much did was I put it in a pan with a little bit of oil, and I crusted it up, warmed it up, added my eggs to it, my 2 regular eggs and 1 egg white, and I cooked that until everything was cooked thoroughly through. I also have my collard green stir fry on the side in the other pan that was prepared previously. It's pretty much, collard greens are like very good for you, very nutrient dense, and those are my veggies, and then I pretty much just took some tuna for some added protein, mixed it with about a teaspoon of mayo just to give it a little bit more flavor, and I served that on the side with my couscous and egg with my collard green stir fry. And so it was really good, and it was really rich, and it had many proteins and nutrients and fats and carbs for the meal, so I was very happy with it. So hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the video.
Let me see you put 'em up, reach the sky, touch the stars up above, cause it's one time for the underdog, one time for the underdog. You got the world on your team, even if that ain't what it seems. It's one time for the underdog, one time for the underdog. A young nigga with $1 and a dream, and these Nikes on my feet, trying to stay about the streets. So I'm rhyming, pulling 187s all on these beats, instead of on the concrete, submitting my future while they were focused on what they cheap. But shit, I'm like a chief head honcho, tell me that it's impossible, I give it to you pronto. Be working all these late nights and these early mornings like Alonzo, so one day they'll be calling me great, just call me Gonzo. But I'm never acting, nor is anybody pulling strings. Everything I have came from sacrificing everything. I traded working 9 to 5 for the minimum for working non-stop, so my life be like a cinema screen. But in the end I wouldn't have it any other way. Got on my knees and for this rap to work is what I prayed, and that was happening, crunching numbers like Captain, a serial killer, compelling listeners with his fashionable words. Never acting my verbs, but truly fashion to serve not only masses but curves, not just the hood but the birds. Know you hear it every time I grace the mic, then I give it to God, feeling blinded by the lights in this song. Let me see